Hello, everyone. We are hosting the 9th episode of Chronicles of Community Builders, and we have Celine. Celine, I apologize in advance if I pronounce it wrong.
My last name is very hard, I know.
Today we have Céline Riemenschneider with us. She is the community lead for Canva Creators in Germany, and she's also working on a course for community professionals. I'm really interested in knowing more about that. And hosting her is our own Varalakshami Dwarkanath. She is the Chief Growth Officer at Appreiz. And I don't know how many people know this, but she started as a journalist, and I'm really fond of her writing, how she writes.
Me too.
Thank you so much for the introduction. But I did not start as a journalist. I started out as a creative writer. Oh. I wish I had started my journey as a journalist, but I did not have a flair for the kind of writing that a journalist has. So I just, went to creative world. But thank you for that introduction, Akash.
My apologies.
Can we get started? No problem.
Yeah, definitely. Let's get started.
Awesome. I think having a conversation with Celine is more like, I'm having a conversation with a sister from the same world of community. So it's going to be all the more fun for us as well, alongside you all. So hello, everyone, once again from my end. And thank you, Paras, community folks, and Akash for organizing this event here. This is my second event where I'm hosting. I hosted Richard Millington a few months ago, and feels so good to host my buddy, my sister, the leader that I look up to, Celine, right now here. While I have, we have a lot of questions to discuss, I would want to start it with a fun note. But, I think Akash snatched away that one question that I had, that you're going to teach how we all should pronounce your last name. Okay, so I think that's the first question.
It's Riemenschneider, actually, in German, but it's very hard to pronounce. So you said it very good. Thank you so much. But I always say Remy is like, in short, it's easier. Just Céline Remy. It's easier.
Thank you. You already taught me this like probably a few months ago when we spoke, but I have a very flimsy memory that I forgot, and thanks once again for telling how I should pronounce that. Probably the next time you ask me, I'm going to forget it. I'm going to ask you again, but that's
no worries.
So we know that you work with Canva as the head of Creators Community Germany. As awesome as it sounds, like, everyone, I'm sure most of us over here know Canva. Like I for me, the association with Canva goes back to 2015, where I started working. I was like super new to the design world, and I had to like learn how to design, and all of them were into this Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator. CorelDRAW was at that point of time, like, going pretty big. And probably for me, Canva was like a savior, is a savior, and probably going to be a savior. I don't know. But I would like to understand, how does the world of a head of creator community in Canva looks like? Let's just take one day of your journey. How does that look like?
Wow. I think Canva saves a lot of lives on a daily basis, and it has saved mine a lot of times too. So I'm glad it does for everybody else as well. Of course, it's like a dream company. It's super cool. It's the future is creators, I always say. So it's, I think my typical day starts with checking a lot of Slack messages, because internally we use Slack. And as you guys can imagine, obviously our team is very international. So I have, we have our HQ in Australia and Sydney. I have colleagues in Latin America. We have ones in Europe, and we have a big office in Manila in the Philippines. It's huge. So it is like a lot of catching up of who wrote what while I was sleeping, basically, because it was a different time zone. And then it's really just deep diving a little bit into seeing what people have created, and giving creators a lot of feedback also on what they're doing, because it has to be fitting to our guidelines, trying to help the community, support them. I try to, on a weekly basis, give them good feedback, resources, things that will alter their creator journey. So it is a lot of data and insight and analysis somehow as well, you know, and so it's sexy still because it is, you know, about design and creations, but it is a lot of deep diving into analytical things as well, which I don't think you have in every single community role, but in this one it's fun.
I mean, that's a beautiful confluence, right? Like imagine there is a design conversation happening on one end where there is a lot of creativity flowing in. There is the aspect of community, which is going to bridge a lot of knowledge gaps. There's also analysis that's going to give you a wholesome picture of how community is bridging those gaps in design. It's definitely an amazing confluence. And I'm sure so many stakeholders here are actually getting benefited. Now, I have been having this question while we all probably know the answer to it. You know, I started out with more around, my journey has always been around customer communities and, you know, professional communities and things like that. But the moment I hear of creator community, I could probably be a bit blank because I think I need to learn a lot from there. So what on the word, you know, is creator community? Please give a great, you know, an idea about it so that we all can learn from there.
I mean, it's, you know, it's a super growing space. I'm learning a lot every single day too. Obviously, 6 months ago, if you asked me, I wouldn't have maybe known as much as I do now about it, as you know too, because, you know me at a personal level. But I mean, everybody is kind of investing in it, and I think businesses really should, because this is, you know, going towards the future of how things are going with the creator economy. You see how Instagram, for example, as a big company, has also been investing a lot into creator communities. What they, for example, have started doing, you know, they have their own creator page too. They have select creators, and I think they started to roll this out in the US, but I have seen some in Germany as well, that you can basically subscribe to a creator, like influencer creator. Now it's, you know, it's kind of a bit fluid, I think, what you call it. But you can basically subscribe to a person's channel, like you can on YouTube as well, and you get certain content from that person that you subscribe to and you pay for. So it is monetary as well. So you pay for one person $6 a month, for example, to be able to subscribe to all the stuff that this creator is posting exclusively on Instagram. So same with what we're doing in Canva. So what's Canva about? Basically, you go to Canva to find beautiful, great templates, right? We all love to use them. They save our lives, and we have a million categories at the moment, I think. But how do you have all of those templates, of course? So some were, of course, over the years created in-house by our designers in-house too, but we have figured out, especially for trying to internationalize and localize, that we work with creators in each market who then create templates for Canva's library, basically. So I'm heading the German program. So the German creators, basically most of them are designers, or they're like super Canva professional people that make beautiful German templates, so that when a German user goes into Canva, they feel spoken to as well, because the templates are not all just in English. So same in India now, we have an Indian community as well. And I think in India, it's like even harder because you guys have more than one language. So it's a lot of languages you can create templates in as well. So it speaks to Indian people. But this is basically, you know, how companies like Canva or Instagram or YouTube are trying to make the best of working with creators. And then there's, of course, a creator on their own, whether it's a course creator or whether it's, you know, fitness people now. They have like either a lot of people on YouTube, or they just create their own app, because by now there's so many different technologies that enable us to make our own apps, right? And then in it, they integrate having their own community, because you can continuously just nurture them. They can support each other, and you can support them with their questions. So it's growing. There's so many possibilities.
So you mean to say this creator community, especially for Canva, is more like the creators of those beautiful templates that we see on Canva? If that's a yes, and how would you give the feedback to them? I know this is just something I wanted to ask, because imagine there are millions and millions of templates out there, and so many creators are involved in there. And on what basis, do these creators get recognized? Is it because of the positive feedbacks that they get, or is it because of some sort of the maximum number of templates that get used? How does that overall picture looks like?
I mean, whilst localizing at the moment, of course, not every category has so many templates. Let's say, for example, Instagram posts, we all know, is like the highest category in every single language. There's like a million templates, but there's so many other categories, for example, that have a lower count of templates in them. So this is, of course, an opportunity for people as well, because I'm sure we've all done a search in Canva. You try to, for example, look for a resume or a presentation, right? So you will see at the top as well, it will, for example, just say 500 templates, but then you go on to a certain other category and it will be just 30 templates. So then it gets more narrowed down. And I think for the community who has created something, they have more chances of visibility, obviously, being found in those categories than in the other ones. And in the other ones too, they have to be more specific. So we have to give them the right set of information and feedback, so that the search algorithm within us picks it up so that they can be found. So we need to give them support and feedback to make sure that they create really good quality content, not just look-wise, but also from all of these kinds of angles to be found and searched for making use for themselves, because they're going to be pissed off if they have templates that do not perform. So
that's interesting. So in general, when we talk about creator community, right, how do you think that businesses specifically, when you talk about businesses, how should these businesses optimize, creator communities as in general?
I mean, like I said, it might not be a one glove fits it all. There's some types of businesses where it just will not work, probably working with creators, but for most of the ones that have maybe a creative spin, or that have a product where you can work together with creators in producing it or getting feedback or changing things, this will be a really good way to leverage things, because I think budgets are going to have to move a lot more from marketing and spending a lot of money on that kind of the old classical way of marketing. It will still exist, but I think there will be a lot of it this also having to flow into working with creators, because that's just where it's headed. It is a fact. So either you jump on the train in time or it's too late.
Okay, that's a great one. So I have this question, which I'm sure a lot of people, I have seen these kind of conversations always popping up in Twitter, Facebook, and different platforms as such. So if you're going to give a clear demarcation between fans, followers versus audience versus community, what is that demarcation between all of these things?
It's a tricky one. Actually, I really like this question. I think fans versus followers is getting a little bit more fluid at the moment, especially because platforms such as Instagram are changing the way their algorithm works. We're following people that we're not actually following anymore at the moment. So to me, even that's very confusing with their algorithm. So I think just, fans are, basically admirers, in my opinion, whereas followers choose to follow a brand or an idea or a person, right? And audiences, on the other hand, are impersonal, whereas communities, recognize the individual. So this is where it kind of, I think, all differentiates. Audiences are focused on a general reach, right? They just want to have a certain number. They're more focused on growing and saying this is a huge audience. Whereas with community, it's obviously not about the huge size and the number at the end. It really is about the individual. Whereas in the audience, there's no care about the individual and people as one-on-one. But I think, there's like a little bit of an intersection that, but in the audience and in the community too, they're interacting with your brand and you can turn them into customers. So I think this is kind of like a subsection that could, be there. But I have to always go back to, and I think this is something I mentioned to you too, I think a while back, where on social media, for example, the social media managers, we're not feeling any hate here or so, but I've seen it so much that on World Community Manager Day, there's just social media managers with accounts. Okay, you have 5,000 followers, 10,000, 20,000, that's really great. Like I said, that's an audience, that's a following in that sense. And you have a bit of an audience and you can have a little bit of an interaction of a community, maybe with a part of them in a separate space. But you're not a community manager. So then they're like, yeah, thank you for congratulating me for Community Managers Day. And I think, but you're not, you're just growing an Instagram account. It's not the same thing. You don't have one-on-one conversations. You don't have a shared experiences that you have within a community. So that's really where all of it kind of has its own space and differentiates.
So if we put it this way, I'm just getting on top of my head some examples, like, for example, if there is a live going on, let's say, I'm sure there could be one person that, let's say, who's your Tom Cruise? Is there any, the crush element that's there? Okay, let's see, Tom Cruise is my, great crush, like right from my childhood. It's so bad to say from my childhood over here, but yeah, apparently he's a little old, but yeah, I like Tom Cruise so much. Probably Captain America as well, but yeah, let's just go with Tom Cruise. Like, I'm a great fan of his. Probably if I come and see if he comes on live and then I see him, I probably call myself an audience. But if I'm going to follow him, if I'm going to interact with all his posts and in live, I'm going to stalk him like a crazy person, then I could be someone who's a follower, but let's say that I'm going to do it repeatedly. And I could, let's say if Tom Cruise is going to like have his own, a fandom community as such of that sort, probably I would be a part of his community because I have been exhibiting that kind of love for him every now and then, every chance I get. And he would not want to basically miss such a loyal fan because, I'm loyal to his, whether his movie is going to be a hit or flop, I always like him. I just go, oh, like that, right? So probably that could be a thing that we can actually say, fan following and audience and community.
Yes, that's pretty cool. I think on this topic, everybody should write the childhood crush into the chat of the Zoom. Who else is Team Tom Cruise or who was your childhood crush? Please, let's read this later. It's going to be pretty epic.
Probably we should, Akash, I'm just giving you a cue, okay? Like we just talked about Tom Cruise over here, but probably you should take this, just a bit of it and then put it across in LinkedIn or Twitter or somewhere so that he notices a bit and then say, hey, look at this girl, if I'm going to start a fandom, like a fan community, this girl is going to be the admin. I would do it for free.
You got it, Varu.
Please Photoshop him in the picture and just like have him in, maybe it will catch people's attention more.
Good one.
Like it's Varu and me and in the middle is Tom Cruise, please.
Oh my God. I think he's not going to say yes to that.
Come on. I mean, he's aging too, he doesn't get all the top movies maybe anymore. So let's revive him a bit. Come on, guys.
Cool. For Tom Cruise, for Celine.
All right. I'll try to stay professional and serious now.
Okay, that's not going to happen when you have me in this, session. So we've talked about Canva, we've talked about creator community as well, and you've worked with Yelp. Like I've read, I'm sure a couple of you over here would have also read Yelp's use case. Probably I would have learned something around it and taken some inspiration from there and tried to implement also in my community journey. So I wanted to ask you this question, that what did community as such, what is that one particular business challenge of Yelp did community resolve?
Can I say more than one? Well, Yelp's motto basically is, it says it everywhere too, is to create people to break local businesses, right? That's their entire slogan, and it is really what they're about. So how they really, I think, solve a problem in that sense is, whereas not a lot of businesses might maybe appreciate this, everyone needs reviews. Like, this is how the world is functioning at the moment. We buy something in Amazon, a product, we first read a review before we buy it. If you go to a restaurant, a hotel, anything, people are looking into photos, reviews, whatever, right? So they show a face of your business. So of course there will be sometimes a not so great review, or they will just be amazing reviews because, I don't know, you're stellar and your service is always good, you've never had an issue with it. But I think it gives like honest feedback and shows to people, customers that might become your customers there, a true depiction of your business's life. So basically it draws in customers for you. And this is what Yelp stands for. This is why it was founded. So this is actually the reason, why many years ago, basically Jeremy Stoppelman, together with his co-founders, started Yelp because they were looking for a dentist, actually. So it wasn't about restaurants. Obviously, people go much more often to restaurants than they do go to the dentist, I hope, which is why there's more reviews to such businesses than to, local dentists or plumbers. But generally they said, okay, I want to have a place where people can really have honest reviews from real people, not fake reviews, not bot reviews. And so I will be able to make a pick of who I should go to. So that's how it all started. I think it has really been successful with that. What I have to add with the community part, for example, is to elite events, we always say, and we had discussed this too. So the reason of elite events is, yes, of course, it's from a community angle, it's amazing. You're an elite member, you have these wild, amazing parties, super exclusive events. You get swag left, right, and center in the most amazing forms. Yes, people love it. But the whole purpose behind it is, yes, to make the community member feel special, but at the same time, who are those people? Those are the top contributors. That means those are the people that are actually going out very often. They're spending enough money, so they're at a certain age gap or job gap to where they are making enough money to be able to go out so often, which means they're like the best kind of customer a business can have. So if you take those people to the business and have a free event, this is to them, they're not having like a 12-course menu when they go there. Basically, they have tidbits of your menu or whatever your business is, having an exclusive experience just for them. But because you get to basically have a PR event for free where you don't have to, pay people, you just have to pay in the sense of just giving them a little bit of food and drinks for 2-3 hours. And if you win them over, those are people who will turn into customers. They will come for a proper dinner. They will bring their family. They will bring their friends. So this is how you get word of mouth and returning customers. And actually, that's how Yelp helps businesses and solves their problems. So it's a win-win for the business and the community as well. So it's a very great example.
Definitely, because I do remember when I read a case study on Yelp that Yelp was almost in the stage of a little bit confused that where do they actually base their business on, because it's totally around reviews. And like you said, they do not want fake reviews. And when they were like so confused and when they do not want to actually like step back, that's when they started with this elite events as such. But when you look from the other angle, right, like all of us think, be it Canva, be it Yelp, both of its major business challenges have been getting resolved by its community as being the core strength. But outside, people are exactly not aware that community is one of the reasons why this is actually like the fuel, or the driving actually happens. It is able to like go for a longer period of time, for a longer distance, and that acts as a fuel that kind of takes the engine forward. So I think with what you shared right now, be it with Canva or with Yelp, I think we all should keep that in mind, that community acts as a fuel. It's not just a catalyst or something of that sort. It acts as a fuel for you to actually like move the engine forward. Engine is amazing, product is amazing, everything is great. Even if you have a BMW bike right in front of you, if there is no power fuel or fuel that's there, I think your bike wouldn't start or move forward.
Yes, definitely. Couldn't put it better.
So there's always this this debate or a controversial question. I'm going to put you in spot right now, Celine. You can't escape. Okay, so
camera goes off.
Camera's off. Yeah, please. Yeah. So let's say that there's this PR as such is a different department, marketing is a different department, and community is a different department. All three are seen differently. And I've seen people saying, hey, don't talk about marketing or PR to community. But, I believe in this wholesome, a business cannot run only with one thing. It needs to have multiple, aspects for a business to run. It also needs PR. It also needs marketing. It also needs community.
Yeah.
Where marketing stops, community starts. Or probably where community stops, PR starts. Probably the either way around. The order need not be the same this way. But everything kind of has to be in a place so that the gaps are getting filled one by one, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
How do you think community, marketing, and PR actually has that point? Let's say that PR stops here, so that's where community starts. Or what is that particular point for all these three things that we all should keep in mind? Or probably
it does go hand in hand a lot too. It does, for example, this is two very big examples that you gave with the companies as well. So I worked at Yelp, I worked at Canva, for example, really huge companies. At Yelp, I was doing marketing and PR too in the same boat as doing community. So it was all in one, which I don't agree with necessarily, because yes, it is a designated marketing PR team, but they were just more focused on doing big scale things, right? So for bigger things, for more international news and things like that. Whereas for local things, it was okay, you're the CM, you know your city better, so you will do it. And I think I didn't study PR. I have no idea how to talk to journalists. And if you guys are listening, love you guys, but you're very hard to reach and get to. So it's, you have to have that finesse to be able to get to them, So I was once a week at least just spending so many hours a day, doing PR pitches, for example, so that, I draw more attention to Yelp locally, for example, but also to the community. So they know there's an entire community and things behind it, or marketing and events and things. I think in the event part, there's a lot of the marketing and the community, angle working together too, because it's not just community or it's not just marketing this event, we both do it, so it does kind of fit together too. In Canva, it's thank God quite separated. We don't have, I think, much to do with marketing at all, or PR in that sense, but to be able to draw attention to the community, I think you do have to market it, you do have to do some PR for it. So we are running, for example, also social ads to be able to get more people to join in. And I think this will work with a lot of communities out there. If you're, you can do very specific targeted ads too. It just depends if you have a budget to be able to run it. So that's up to the company in a sense, but it does all kind of fuel each other. So we shouldn't separate it too much. I think there should be synergies used, but they are all different subsections.
Agreed. So to sum it up, I can put it this way, right? Let's say there are amazing conversations that are happening in a community, and the community is super active and there are top contributors over there. Let's say that you would want to invite your top contributors for an event because their contribution has been very meaningful and helpful for the community. And there you are actually trying to bring in your journalist friends or media over there, because that has actually tremendously helped you in terms of changing the phase of your business, and also has helped your community to grow. So when you see this, it is completely a whole package. Your community would right now has huge chance for it to grow X, 10X, 5X times or something of that. So probably if you do 2-3 events or 4-5 events in a year like this, people will also start knowing what your community is, and people would also start coming for your community to your product as well. So I think that's how the chain works, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, I love how you take my babble and turn it into this is what she was actually trying to say and like sum it up in such a great way. So thank you for that.
You're not babbling. Okay, I should record that.
It is important.
Varun, before we move on to the next question, let's take a quick selfie.
Selfie or is it like a screenshot?
Screenshot.
Yeah. Screenshot.
I got you.
Ooh, selfie.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, cheese. Do we say cheese or community folks?
Let's
you
give
take it?
our folks a little bit of time. Melody,
Canva.
professionally. Sorry?
Hey,
Say Canva, Canva.
yeah, thank you. Exactly.
Ah,
I like it. Yes.
I'm going to say Celine. Celine. E. Okay. Let's say. Yeah. 3,
Okay.
2, 1. Everyone. Celine.
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 Okay, I forgot. I was supposed to take.
I'm like, who's taking the picture, guys, by the way?
Only take me like this.
Okay, again. One last time.
3, 2, 1. Celine.
Thank you. Thank you, folks.
Amazing.
Okay. So I'm not going to leave you right now. We still have a couple more minutes. And I think after that, I would leave the floor for the folks over here to ask you the questions, right? So, oh, what happened?
No, I said, uh-oh. No, I'm going to get bombarded. I'm joking.
Okay. So I have this question. Hey, Paris, I'm just able to see you now. So hi.
Hi, everyone. That has a camera on. Yay.
Okay. So there's something called Community Work Academy that you're working on. It's like a course, community course for the beginners. I think I know a little bit about it, and I would really, for others also, whoever is interested to start their community journey over here or want to learn a little bit more about community from the expert like you, what is it all about, and what do you think that people would get from this course?
Well, so I have to say it all again because you obviously know everything because you're like the inside spy. But basically, I created this, as you know, because I started off in 2014 as a community manager. And at the time, really, I don't think there was too much resources or anything really out there. And I think it's nice to have as a starter to have really like a place to go where you have all this information, but it is not this really intensely crazy course where you have to just like, I feel like pay so much money for. And I'm not saying this in a bad way. So if you have time for doing that, yes, that's great. If you're, it's like a mini college degree, but to me, it's a more digestible way for having, all the most important information, how to get started, what to really have to be able to focus on in that career path. And then have a designated space where you have your own community for these community wonderful folks. So that was kind of, I think, the idea behind it. So I have kind of stalled it for now, not stalled it, but at the moment I'm working on making it a bit more perfect because I am like a perfectionist until it's like the way where I think it is really good and fit. I don't want to really, take it out there. But at the same time, I have like more ideas to have like extra mini courses and stuff on a certain topic as well. Like psychology and stuff. I had talked to you about this, for example, too, which is super important in the community and, maybe the creator space too. So I think there would be more than one thing coming out very, very soon. So I'm working on that. Thank God I'm working at Canva because it helps me a lot in designing very nice and beautiful things to make the course look nicer. So I have no design knowledge. Otherwise, I'm not a graphic designer whatsoever, but I get to do nice things in Canva.
I think I second you there when it comes to Canva because I'm many of the people who are here who do not know how to design. Canva has actually helped them to give that confidence that, they don't have to fear about doing anything of that sort. They can express their thoughts and expressions through Canva, making it easy. That's great. And all the best for your course, Celine. I'll share
newsletter joining link in there as well, because I will obviously inform everybody who's in my newsletter, and to find out when things are ready to go.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Since you said psychology now, this is my last question, and I'm going to leave the floor.
I hit it on the spot.
Again on the spot, huh? Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a very insane and very fascinating topic for me as well. As such, probably you can see after 2-3 years, you'll be finding me in clinic, probably being a psychiatrist, or I don't know. I'm trying to do some things different, but yeah. But keeping that aside, the psychological aspects when it comes to community, right? There are certain triggers specifically when it comes to community, specifically when it comes to attract people to come down to community or make people to engage in a community. So what do you think are those triggers that would psychologically make them do the action? If you could tell anything, top 3 or 5 on the surface.
Well, there's different types of communities, of course, always. So I think the most important things that you can really do are just, I would say FOMO is an important one, like fear of missing out, right? So if there's something time sensitive, if there's a challenge or something, and they have something at the end of it, for example, that they will, if they join this challenge, they will win this prize, which I like to do, by the way, in my community too. So, and it works. And it's nice to remind people sometimes. And if there was a, notification or a trigger that really goes out to them, instead of me always having to go to people like one-on-one, or just, doing a Facebook post, that's really great to be like, okay, this is happening. You have 5 more days, you have 4 more days, and then you get to, get this if you join in or so. Just, it works, with just like how booking.com, for example, really off community maybe, but it does, like, it's the last room. It's like the last 3 rooms. It's 2 more rooms left in this hotel. You have to book it now. And I stupidly actually fell for this lately in a hotel. I'm like, no, but it's a really nice room. Like, we have to book it right now, because otherwise it's going to go away. And then I go there and the whole place is basically empty. So it functions. We're humans. We have this whole, oh my God, what if it slips away and I don't get to be part of it angle. So I think this is how it works then in community as well. And it should definitely be used as a trigger. Exclusive events, like I said too, like if you join in on this, you will be a part of this awesome community experience, which you otherwise will not be able to experience somewhere else. I think it always works. People like events most of the time. Even the biggest introverts, they're like, okay, let me just go, even if I just stay in the corner and mingle and then warm up. People like to try it out, especially if it's not a million people there and it's a little bit more exclusive for them, I think. And just, gamification where you maybe measure up to other people in the community is works, I think, really well. You have a leaderboard for something. Just, on top of my head, Vara's about to outrun you in this marathon because she's about to rank as number 2, Celine. You're still in number 5. Like, don't you want to do, fast sprint today too, so you can catch up to her? And you're like, what? She's number 2? Damn it, I have to, be faster and go out for a run, for example. Like, things like that definitely, I think, trigger with people, and they can be used effectively in a lot of different ways in communities.
Great.
Top of my head, of course.
No, definitely. I think I do agree with FOMO exclusivity as well as the gamification aspect of it, because we all as humans, we would not want to miss out things. We would want to feel special. We would want to basically at least challenge our status quo at some point of time. So all these things work like magic, no matter how far back they go. Even without community, people kind of use all these things. And these are the basic psychological triggers that even community should have in place for it to get moving. So I totally agree with that. I think I leave the questions the floor to all those people who would ask questions. Vineet, I'm so sorry for not asking a question since you're there. I would leave that to you. Vineet had a question and he wanted me to ask, but I think I would leave it up to him. So, I think the floor is open, guys, and I'm going to be muted.
Okay, because I didn't read the chat. Sorry. I have no idea.
I will ask a different question. Hi, Celine. So I'll ask a different question. I was listening to the podcast, and Melanie Perkins, she speaks about client onboarding, customer onboarding, investor onboarding, basically the entire stakeholder piece. So have you had the chance to interact with her, or in group or in person? What was the experience like while
With
working at?
Melanie, no, not yet. I wish. I have a female crush on her. No, but I mean, I look up to her a lot. Obviously, we all do. She's super young. You know, she's a female. She's a super boss of this hugely billion-dollar company. So it's amazing, of course. But no, I have not had the chance to meet her yet. I hope I will. If I do, I will make like a Zoom screenshot for you.
Sure. Because the fact is, the way Canva was adopted, a lot of folks were, as design challenged. I'm sure about it. So the onboarding tool of you color the circle, you put a hat, and then you graduate through the levels. And that has actually helped us, understand how to put the basics in place. Although we still might be design challenged, but Canva is helping us to the core. So that's about it. So let us know once you have had that experience.
That's cool. Okay, I will. Yes, we love challenges at Canva. I can definitely say that. I think it's a very design people related thing, maybe. You guys can say more to that, but I host a lot of challenges and it works really, really well.
Makes sense. Thanks, Melanie. Thanks, Celine.
Mel and Celine, you can do the lead. Cool. Anybody else? Don't go too hard on me.
If anybody has any questions for Celine, yeah, Paras, please.
Hey, Celine, Paras this side. So, okay, so I'm gonna ask something which is going on right now. If you go to Twitter and just put a hashtag Web3, community is there everywhere. Everybody. It's it's the word of the hour, of the month, of the year right now. And if I shout out here also outside that I build communities, I'm sure some founder from a blockchain company come and make a community for them. What's your take on that? We all are coming from a long time in this space, from Web 2 to Web 3, and transition is happening. Even we did our offline meetup last Friday, after 2 weeks.
I saw.
Yeah. And that was focus was on Web3 because just wanted to make sure that the Web2 folks understand what is happening, and even made sure that the talks and topics were somewhere from beginner to intermediate, everything. But what's your take on this overall scene? What do you think about it?
I think Akash knows at the beginning you hadn't joined yet. I think I was saying I think I'm the only person that is just not well informed about this enough yet, because it is such a different, obviously growing topic and I am so into this other space that I said I actually feel like I need a bit more input and information on it too. So I think I will have to ask you to teach me a bit more about Web3.
I actually jumped into it, and recently, so if for everyone also, if you are not much into it and not getting into it, so I don't have too much of experience, just 2 months of things are here and there. But I recently went to a boot camp kind of a thing by Foundership, and they selected some 60 startups to coach and mentor and stuff like that. So I'll tell you one experience, okay? So I think I talked about community first mindset. I gave a masterclass. I gave a talk for 20 minutes. And you know what, because all of these startups and all of these Web3 founders, they became founders in just last 1 year. The magic has happened in just 1 year. So for them to understand community to this deep and to listen to these terms which we guys use, like the rituals or lurkers and all the terms which we have, their mind was blown. They, being a founder, they haven't seen, they don't even know that community management has so much of depth. So and you won't believe what happened after that. So I was someone as an unknown, because I was coming to the industry and all these meetups after 6-8 months of long break. So not many people knew, and it was a new crowd. But then once I gave this talk, and we were supposed to mentor these startups one-on-one, like, a lot of these founders, they really wanted to talk to me and get insights of community. So I'm saying to everyone, each one of you who have been there for a long time, this is our time, guys. Okay.
This is
I'm
so
just
cool.
letting you know. Okay, just letting you know, like, if you're not, like, I'm not saying that go jump into it, but if you're just planning to explore and want a more width, not depth, I'll say just get into it. Like, if you'll say you do 3 tweets and write a 1 blog, I think they will reach out to you. Like that's how that easy it is right now, because I'm seeing a lot of kids getting into it, and like, I know the depth they have. I know they have gone through, like, gone through my meetups we did in past, and I know like what they're talking right now. So I know in and out. I'm saying to all my old folks, because you come join community folks meetups, go ahead. Okay, like, if you are not doing this, I'm just saying, just go for the fun to all of these, and like, so much more than each one of them. Okay, all about community, because you have built it in and out, and that too in those times when no books and nothing were there. Okay, so I think we can actually go above. So if you want to listen to me, this is what I have to say on this as a community builder. And
I like it. I mean, I listened to some of the stuff you posted before too, actually, and I think like you have like a lot of deep knowledge on this topic too. So hats off to you too. I really like the work.
easily. Yeah, not that old, Varu. I know. Like, I'm saying old for the Web3. For Web3, we are old, right? We are Web2. We are the old version for them. So let's just tell them, like, who are the real OGs. I think we need to tell them. OG is the word which they use in this industry. And I think we are the original gangsters. So yeah. That's all right. That was something from my side. And even if we have like, it rarely happens that we finish our events even before time. And but I see like still 8 more minutes and we are about to finish. So anyone and everyone, if there is anything you would like to ask to Celine or anyone else, if you have any other question with respect to your community as well, you can come ahead and talk. And it's the platform is there, it's open.
Yeah, the stage is all yours.
Yeah, I'll not do the filler too. I can do, we all are storytellers. We can go for 8 to 80 minutes right away. No one will realize.
That's my question then, Varu. I mean, you reminded me.
Go, Vinny.
So Celine, I heard your podcast on Toolbox, where you spoke about 5 hats as a community manager. Why don't you share it with us in a 30 seconds so that our memories are refreshed for all of us? This will be the in thing. We might not publish it on YouTube, but for
I didn't hear it. Sorry, I didn't hear the beginning.
You spoke about 5 hats being worn by the community managers in the CSM Talks podcast. Why don't you refresh all the 5 for us in 30 seconds so that it becomes our takeaway from this session?
Thank you. So I mean, I hope I have this blog post still somewhere, but basically this is something that was taught to us in Yelp times too. So a community manager is basically an educator, a builder, an event planner, a marketer, like it or not, and a writer. So these are like I'm trying to keep it short, like the 5 hats that I think every CM really does have, and we all do in all of our jobs. So yeah, dig deeper into it, but it will take longer than if I explain each hat. Please listen to it. Thank you so much for listening to it, Vinny.
Lovely. I think then that's about it, Varu. Like, I think we should let Celine go and live her rest of the day. And
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thanks, Varu. Like, Celine, do you know like what usually happens in these sessions? This is actually a session where all the folks who have been part of community folks, they actually come up and like take the session and like become the mod here. So it's mostly like the whole series been run by the members of the community, and Varu has been allegedly that one member, and
Yes.
and more. So first of all, big thanks to such people who make this community and make the whole feeling of community real. Like this is how it becomes real. And so thank you so much as an individual personally from Paras side. Thank you, Varu, and thank you, Akash, once again for keeping this going on. And And Celine, thank you so much for time, patience, and knowledge and wisdom, and all the best.
Of course, thank you so much for having me.
Whatever you do, and whenever the course is out, do share with us so that we can share it out. There's a lot of janta, a lot of crowd, sorry, in India. I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to something really, really important, because and then just add a chapter for Web3 and a lot of people will buy it also.
I think you don't have to add a chapter on Web3. You know what you should do? You should basically say that all the assets or images that you're adding in this thing is it's NFTs or something of the sort. They get NFTs. You're sold.
Kill it. Just launch NFT of your course. I'll give you some ideas, and then you see it will be used by the world. So just giving you an idea. But I hope no one from the ecosystem is listening to me. I have been venting. But I don't mean to, because this is my house, this is my place, these are my people, okay? And I really speak to my core, and I really feel the way we build communities. I guess it's gonna take a while for everyone to understand. But thank you once again, everyone. Dhanashri, Vineet ji, Dhanyavad. Adi, Chinmay, Céline, Melody, Shweta, Priya, Rajat, Vaishnavi, thank you so much.
Guys,
you people
also
thank you, everyone.
Guys, there's one more thing about Varu. So she shared a news few days back that she wrote 2 songs for a series, and I was just going through LinkedIn an hour back before this meeting was started. So those 2 songs are getting released on 2nd of July. So big cheers to you, Varu. Just keep writing, keep doing the good work.
Celine, you can add this also. The community builder also have these hats as well.
Yeah. They can also write songs.
Is there anyone who's more colorful than us? I wonder.
Look at our t-shirts, dude. Look at our t-shirts.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
That's great.
It's for you, dude. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Everyone.
Thanks, Celine.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Varu.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good to be here. Bye-bye.
Bye, man.